Day-4 te halo varun namobi. Rigved subdue anger with humility. Instead of worsening the angry person, show compassion. Mother's Moral Workshop, Maa Ki Sanskar Shala. Second week, story. Those who have faith in religion should never lose compassion. Navald is a small rural village in Albania where most of the residents are farmers. The tradition and situation there are such that the majority of people consider and practice meat consumption as a natural dietary choice. A young boy from a farmer's family was enrolled in a nearby missionary school that offered an hour of religious education in addition to regular academics. The practice had been ongoing for years. A priest would teach from the Bible, and the boy would listen and learn. Discussions on high ideals would take place, and the glory of the Christian faith would be emphasized, but it was limited to fulfilling the need for religious education and knowledge. One day, during that hour of religious education, the priest was delivering a discourse on the compassion and teachings of Lord Jesus. He explained, Jesus exemplified the stream of compassion and mercy, and he taught his followers to practice compassionate behavior towards every living being. A true Christian should possess such compassion. This was all read and taught merely for the sake of reading and reciting, but the young boy, Rish, took it seriously. He kept pondering over these thoughts for several days. Are we not true Christians? Do we merely say and hear the teachings of Lord Jesus without truly embracing them? Why don't we follow them? Why don't we walk in his footsteps? The young boy had witnessed the killing of small animals and birds for meat in his home. He had also seen their suffering and distress, which deeply moved him and filled his eyes with tears. The sensitive-hearted boy felt as if his own self was being torn apart by witnessing such scenes. Overwhelmed with emotions, he left the house and cried inconsolably for hours. At that time, he was so young that he couldn't express his feelings openly to the people in his house. But now he had grown older, around 10 years old, and he had found the words to articulate his emotions. The next day, he placed his anguish in front of his teacher, the priest, and asked whether killing animals and birds for meat aligned with the teachings of Christianity and Lord Jesus. The priest himself used to eat meat, and it was a common practice in the households there. Therefore, he couldn't explicitly state it. However, alongside that, he started advocating for compassion and endorsing meat consumption. The well-informed young boy didn't receive a satisfactory explanation from the educated priest. He felt that he was being misled. If compassion is indeed an integral part of religion, why don't religious individuals practice it towards every living being? If religion is genuine, why isn't it manifested in their actions? Rish, the young boy, made a firm decision to become a true Christian, a sincere follower of Lord Jesus. He resolved not to eat meat. When a meal was served in front of him, he moved the plate of meat away. When asked for the reason, he said, "If we have faith in our religion, then we should also implement its teachings in our actions. Murderers and those who thirst for blood cannot be considered religious souls." When the people of the house argued that not eating meat weakens the body, he asked, "Is physical weakness greater than spiritual decline?" The attempts of the family to explain and convince him were in vain. Rish gave up eating meat and left it altogether. Whenever the topic of Christian religion, Jesus' compassion, and the discourse of education came up, Rish, with a dry throat and teary eyes, would ask, "Do those who indulge in gluttony have the right to discuss religion and God?" People's arguments would become confused, and their heads would bow down in front of the truth. Whenever the boy Rish contemplated the suffering involved in acquiring meat, his soul would weep. His mother was influenced by this state of mind, and then both his elder sisters were affected too. All three of them gave up meat. The direction of emotions tends to align itself towards either inauspiciousness or auspiciousness. In this way, the entire family gave up eating meat. This notion spread in the neighborhood and among acquaintances that a true devotee should be compassionate. How can someone who is compassionate consume meat? Rish grew up and became the priest. He traveled from house to house, preaching true spirituality and promoting abstinence from meat. Through the organization called Society of Devotees and Religion Lovers, numerous religious propagators and promotional materials were used in Albania to impart popular education, which influenced millions of individuals to give up meat and embrace spirituality. Rich's efforts have been appreciated amongst religious groups. Killing animals is a great sin.